If you're not familiar with the YouTube channel Love Who, and Nathan, the person who runs that channel and does most of the videos, you should familiarize yourself with it. It's a fantastic YouTube channel on personality types. Recently, he did a video called The Warning Signs, or something along the lines of the warning signs that should be applied to each personality type. And for the ISFP, he said friendly unless provoked. Now, I emailed him and got his permission to discuss that in this video because I thought it was really an excellent warning label for the ISFP. And as I look back on my own life, before I delve a little bit into why I think that is true of the ISFP, I want to give you some examples from my own life of where I have seen that come out. I can remember all the way back to being in junior high school and high school that for the most part, I was a very mild human being. I just wanted to sort of be left alone and leave everyone else alone. I wanted to be who it was that I wanted to be without any pressure from the outside for me to be something that I'm not, and without anyone being particularly pushy against me for being who I wanted to be. I did not want to bother other people, and I did not want to be bothered by other people. I did go through a phase, I believe it was in 7th grade, where I was a little bit of a bully to one particular kid, and I regretted that badly and became his friend later. But other than that one example, for the most part, I was very much a live and let live type of person. Had anyone basically known me or been around me without knowing me well, they probably would have taken me for a shy, non-intrusive human being who is just sort of in the shadows or in the background and is barely noticeable. However, there were times back then when people would push me, and sometimes that was quite physically, literally, and sometimes not. And a fierceness would rise up within me when that happened. I do recall taking out some physical violence on a couple of people in my school years because they would not just let me be. They kept prodding and pushing and poking until finally I couldn't take it anymore. And then, much to their surprise, and honestly much to my own surprise, an anger welled up within me, and it came to blows with a couple of different people. As I look on through my young adult years, I realized that that trend continued. When I was at my first real full-time job, for the most part, I was the same way, very quiet, mild, didn't really force any thoughts or views or ways on anyone else, and didn't want any of them forced on me. I worked with a guy named Tony, who at first we did not get along well at all. In time we did, but he, through his mannerisms and behavior, pushed me. And a couple of times I lashed out, not with physical violence. Fortunately, as I moved from my teens into my 20s, I realized that that sort of behavior had to be left behind. But I lashed out with my tongue and could be quite biting at times. And so on and so forth it goes. As I look through my adult life, there were times when I would suddenly, I think it was very sudden to the people that I did it to, I would suddenly tear into them. And for the most part, I was a person who never behaved aggressively in any way, shape, or form. And so I think for those people, it was extremely surprising. They never would have expected that was in me, or that it would come out. Because I think ISFPs tend to be, generally speaking, so mild and so non-pushy and non-aggressive. I think that most people would take it for granted that ISFPs do not have this fiery, aggressive, willing to fight nature within them, but they do. When an ISFP is not allowed to just be who they want to be and is constantly being pushed on by others for whatever reason, it could be like in school, a bullying or a picking on situation. It could be a situation in the workplace where the ISFP wants to function a certain way or carry out his or her duties in a certain way, or just organize his or her general workspace in a certain way, and is constantly being either bullied about it, like picked on, or people are saying, well, that's dumb, why are you doing it that way, that's stupid, whatever. Or it could be a situation where they're constantly being berated and told to do things differently. Or it could even be a situation where they just want to peacefully, quietly live their lives and not bother anyone and not be bothered, and someone just will not leave them alone. When those times come, that would be the equivalent of provoked. Yes, the ISFPs will generally be some of the friendliest people you will meet because they will not be aggressive toward you, because they will not tell you what to do. They will not push on you. They will be a very live and let live people, unless. Now, before I go on, I just want to take a minute and say that if you are in any way, shape, or form benefiting from this channel, if you're enjoying these videos, you're learning from what I'm presenting to you, would you just please consider, I would just kindly ask you if you would consider going to the link in the description below to a website called KOFI and consider making a donation to my channel. It would help me and my family greatly, and I would very much appreciate it. But getting back to what I was saying, I think the reason that, generally speaking, ISFPs have a very live and let live nature is because of that high, dominant, introverted feeling. They want to be authentic and free to be whoever it is that they want to be whatever it is they want to live however it is they want to live. And they want to extend that benefit and that right on to all other people as well. ISFPs generally are not going to be in favor of coercion, of force. They're going to see the world as a place where people ought to be allowed to do as they largely please, provided that it doesn't hurt other people. Because of that, it's very important to the ISFP, I think this is also true of the INFP, that they not be belittled or ridiculed for who they are. And if they are belittled and ridiculed for who they are, they will largely try to pull away from the source of that belittling or ridicule. They will try to break away and cut that off from their life. And if they're able to successfully do so, then you will not necessarily see the fire come out, because they will just draw away, disconnect themselves from that source of irritation, and be fine. But if the source of irritation follows them, if the source of irritation will not let them draw away, if the source of irritation just walks in their footsteps and says, oh, you're going to go over there? Then fine, I'm going to follow you over there. And I'm going to continue to tell you that what you're doing is wrong, or that the way you're living is not right, or that the way you are should be changed, that you need to do this, you need to be like that, whatever the case may be. If you do that to an ISFP, if you are a source of irritation and annoyance, a source of judgment upon the ISFP, and the ISFP tries to pull away from you and cut that off for his or her own peace, and you will not allow that ISFP to do so, but you continue to track them down and berate them, or try to force them to behave differently or live differently or work differently or rearrange their schedule or whatever it is, then be prepared, because you are provoking them, and the fire will come out and the fierceness will rise. And hopefully, for the sake of everyone involved, the ISFP will do nothing more than use harsh words against you. But do not believe for a moment that an ISFP, if provoked, is not capable of violence. Now, I'm not condoning violence. I never should anyone use violence. I'm not saying that they should. But we all do things that we shouldn't do, right? And one of the things that the ISFP is well capable of is getting a little lost in his or her fire and allowing it to come out in ways that he or she will then regret later. I've done it. I did it in high school. I've said words since high school years that I regretted. I have allowed that fire to come out in me in various ways that I regret because of the fact that I was provoked. Now, there are good ways to deal with provocation other than saying things you will regret or doing things that you will regret. And if you are a person who's struggling with that, you should really look into better ways to deal with that anger that arises from being provoked. But generally speaking, the ISFP will try to avoid that provocation. The ISFP does not want to allow the fire to rage within him or her. The ISFP does not want to say hurtful or harmful or harsh things. The ISFP does not want to use violence against other human beings. Generally speaking, ISFPs are peaceful and friendly people. But if you provoke them, be prepared. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this entertaining, informational, useful. If you did, please click the like button. Please subscribe if you have not already. As I asked in the middle of the video, please consider donating to my channel or even requesting a personalized video, which you can do also on the same website in the link below. Have an awesome day. Bye now.